Moving on now, well, we're going to get into football because a week ago, one of the most successful football academies in the country, the Stars of Africa Academy, opened its new premises in a state-of-the-art building in Johannesburg where there are 60 academy players reside and also attend school. This academy has in the past 20 years produced several Bafana Bafana players, including May Mahlangu, Tefu Mashamaite, Tokelo Rantie, who went to play in the Premier League, and most recently, Tito Maswanganyi of Orlando Pirates. SABC Sports Live, our producer and reporter Velile Mnyandu attended the launch and caught up with the renowned Stars of Africa technical director and respected youth football specialist, Coach Farouk Khan.
This is an academy that started a while ago. As you know, it's almost 20 years now in existence. When I was still at Sundowns, where I eventually resigned from Sundowns and took a full-time post at Stars of Africa. And now we've come to this juncture where we've now developed this beautiful place called the Atrium, where we house 60 kids, where we feed them, we school them. They are members of the Virgin Active. We're looking to develop the next generation of players to fill, or should I say, to follow in the full steps of the likes of May Mahlangu, Tokelo Rantie, Tefu Mashamaite, and the list is endless of players that have gone through. We need to excel and even go one step, ahead of that. And we want to do that based on the fact that we have this world-class facility to complement our work.
When one looks at this work, and this goes in chronological order, from 2003 to 2024, this is the journey of this academy.
Yeah, it's been a very, very tough journey. It's been a journey full of hurdles. If, in fact, we write a book on it, you'll be surprised to find that when we started with the likes of May Mahlangu, we converted a house in Mayfair where these kids used to sleep on mattresses, where they ate on a steel table, where we had a bus, they used to call it the black, it was a phone, Blackberry.
Yeah.
And that Blackberry was a bus we used for these boys. Eventually, goes a story when Tokelo Rantie signed for Orlando Pirates, and he came to me and he said, "Coach, I'm signed." I said, "Okay, now you're still staying in the academy, and you will go with a BlackBerry to the stadium where Pirates train, and you will go there." Whilst the likes of Benny McCarthy and them were pulling up with those Lamborghinis, and he was coming with BlackBerry, So those were the humble beginnings of Stars of Africa, and I'm glad to say that today, what those boys left, they left that foundation for these kids today to enjoy, where these kids now have fantastic nutrition, great transport, great education. I mean, even education. I always say, man, they went to school and they used to fall asleep in the class. Footballers, they were not so keen. But now they've also been plowing back. I mean, May is still with us. He comes back often. So does Tefu Mashamaite and most of the players. I mean, it's just nice to see these boys giving back. And the generation that they're faced with now are aspiring to say, we want to be like these guys one day. We want to play in Europe.
I remember most of our discussions in the past, even on social media, have always been about a holistic approach to development. And when one looks at everything that's happening here and all the different floors and even here, you are now living that dream.
Absolutely. It's been a dream that has been born a while ago. You mentioned the School of Excellence. When we came from Brazil, we were still very, very green, very wet behind the ears. We had a mentor called Ted Dimitro, and he promoted these ideals. And today, I'm glad to say I've continued in the spirit. Wherever he is, he's smiling and saying, "Farouk, my student, you have done exactly what I was dreaming of." Because he always had that hopes that South Africa would become a world power. And he justified it. He said, "We have the best talent. We have the best raw material. We are just not mining it." So now I'm happy to be one of those miners, and I hope out there in South Africa there's more people that we can empower to do this work. We need to do that. We need to create a huge base of talent, and then the cream of the crop will rise, like other countries. I mean, today when I look at Belgium, it's a small country. I look at the Netherlands, they're a small country in population. They're producing world-class athletes. We can do the same. We want to have more players in the Premiership, in La Liga, in the German Bundesliga, and we have the potential. All we need is people out there, government, big business, support us so we can produce the next Steven Pienaar, like we did at the School of Excellence, or the old John Mabizeras, or the May Mahlangus. I mean, the list of players that came late into development, yet they were able to take the world by storm.
Another person will think you're name dropping, but these are all players who you've been involved with their production. Your sweat is all over them in terms of whatever they've achieved. Just to take us through what happens here inside Coach Farouk in terms of the steps and just everything here inside.
Well, basically what happens here is we have annual trials where we look at players, we offer them obviously opportunities to join the academy. We have a huge waiting list, but we just don't have the resources, the coaching staff to actually meet the demands. But at the same time, we don't turn anybody away. If you can't make it into the atrium or into the other campus in Mayfair West, we then invite you to come on a daily basis and travel. Those that live close by. The players that live further far afield outside Gauteng, we obviously ask them to come back for a retrial, but we always try to accommodate everybody. It's not easy. I think hopefully when we grow, we want to take this concept to other provinces. We want to have more Stars of Africa academies around the country that can actually develop more players, because the more players we develop, the more that go abroad, our national team becomes so much stronger. And we want to make sure that we use this football as a form of foreign export. We want to export players abroad who can earn huge sums of money and come back and plow it back into our country, back into our communities. Can you imagine what Brazil is doing? They've got the highest number of players playing abroad, and guaranteed all those huge salaries that Neymar and company earn, where does it go? Back to Brazil, and it gets reinvested into businesses, into academies, into development of job opportunities for people. So this is one of the areas that we can utilize, one of the sports that we can utilize to bring in a form of foreign investment.
Dr. Kumalo talks about the philosophy of Farouk, which is the philosophy that has been there, that has been used at School of Excellence. You use it at Kaizer Chiefs, from the Rao days, at Sundowns as well, and even with a brief moment even at the national team.
Yeah, I think it's a philosophy that's born out of the fact that we look at the quality of players we have, we look at the characteristics. We are a nation blessed with skill, with speed, and that is similarly to what the Brazilians have been blessed with. I mean, a lot of the players that we have those attributes, and so the philosophy speaks to us from the quality of players, not the other way around. We don't allow the formation and the philosophy to be governed by our wills. We rather let it be governed by the players we have. And I think once you respect the players' qualities, the players' characteristics, then you are working closer to producing those exceptional players. I mean, in the School of Excellence, to believe me or not, we never played in a league. We used to just play friendly games. I mean, the late Clive Barker will tell you, we played a friendly against him one day with his quality team, and he was astounded when China Masondo hit the post and it almost cracked a wooden post. And he was just like, where did these players come from? You know, Zita Mofokeng, all those players. But we allow them the freedom to express themselves. We allow them the freedom to grow. We never put on handcuffs. We encourage them. We motivated them, because we realize if you don't harness their talent, if you make their talent too restrictive, if you put too many confines, they're not going to bloom. It's going to be a tree where you're not giving it enough fertilization, enough water. All you need to do is continually enhance their talent by motivating, by developing this. So it's not a philosophy that I will say is rocket science. It's a philosophy where we respect the players' individuality and we complement him. We complement it, and that is what Doggy is talking about. I mean, I had the pleasure of coaching him in his latter days at Chiefs, and he used to say, "Coach, this training is fantastic. You know, we don't run for the sake of running. We train with the ball," because me and Ted used to just play small-sided games. And imagine that team was so phenomenal in those 2 seasons, winning 2 league titles.
They broke so many records that Sundowns is breaking now.
Absolutely.
20 years later.
Absolutely, and I think to be quite frank, this is exactly what Pizzo and Rulani and Mangova and Stephen were doing at Sundowns. I mean, we sometimes don't realize what potential we have in coaches as well, and they've proven it beyond a doubt. I mean, many foreign coaches came to Sundowns, couldn't get that result, but I think again we must take our hat off for Pizzo. When things were going bad, he stuck in there and he made sure that Sundowns is the powerhouse it is today.
But I think this will not be enough, Coach Farouk, if we don't emphasize the importance of fully fledged academies like this one, state of the art and everything, that you produce talent. And most of the talent that you're producing is also for professional clubs. And the little that you're looking for is for that contribution is for you to be properly compensated so that you can unearth more stars.
Absolutely. You see, the thing is, you don't kill the golden goose. My message to the PSL teams is promote, support, assist, local development, and that is in the form of academies. Even if you get a preza in the township and he finds your talent, and reimburse him, give him something for his trouble, because he's been, a lot of the prezas in the townships go the extra mile. They spend out of their pockets for their teams. Even though they may not have all the qualification expertise, they are passionate about the game of football, and they produce some phenomenal talents. Matlubi, for me, was my greatest scout at Chiefs. Matlubi used to bring me players, yet the man wasn't highly educated, but he would say to me, Coach, I've got this boy Junior Khani, I've got this boy Skapi Maladz, I've got this boy Jabupula, I've got this boy Tlantla Kubek. I said, bring, because I knew he had an eye. I gave him the name Iron Eagle, because his eye was something out of this world. And we have many Matlubis out there, my brother. All we need to do is support this initiative. All we need to do is clubs must reimburse us. All we need to do is produce more of these academies so that we create a huge base of talent.
FIFA talks about development fee. They talk about there's another term that they use that I've just forgotten, but the common word is development fee. Is it a case of SAFA also even coming in to do their duty here?
Absolutely, SAFA have to make sure, because SAFA are the custodians of football. If they don't support small business enterprises like Stars of Africa and other academies, then there's no talent flow coming through. There's no talent coming through the pipeline. So they have to make it compulsory. Like they are saying now, coaches must have certain qualifications. They have to make it mandatory that academies get compensation. They shouldn't sit back and allow clubs to take players as and when they wish to do so. Because ultimately the clubs that take those players will benefit in the long term. If, for example, they compensate a specific academy or person, that person will always look to produce more talent. And if you look at the market these days, what the costs are to produce players or to sign players. I mean, our clubs are signing, the amounts of money is out of this world. Now, if you have homegrown talent like we had during the time of Mushina to Ground, when we introduced those 7 or 8 players in the first team, Chiefs were the most successful. It was Operation Fat Alles. If you remember what Patko Mafani was singing all the time. And the reason was, it was homegrown talent. They understand the culture of Chiefs. They understand the philosophy of Chiefs. And the good thing is, we use a methodology that was conducive, that was easy to digest, and the players flourished. So that is there's no other secret, there's no secret recipe. It's very simple, but yet complex.
Yeah. Lastly, Coach, one of the things that I saw that is very encouraging here is the contribution of your students, your products, shoes, Tefu Mashamaite. We saw him at Kaizer Chiefs in the early 2000s. I mean, Tefu Mashamaite is here, May Mahlangu is here. We see other youngsters. Tlantla Kubeka is also here. But also there are those who are even with their clubs in pre-season now, they are always the first ones to showcase and raise their hands that they are products of this place, like Maswanganyi and them.
Yeah, I think they're proud because of what they've been through. I mean, Maswanganyi came at a time when we didn't have all of these things. I think when we started off, it was even more difficult for May and them. We used to have to jump fences to get fields at Raho. And we used to jump early in the morning, 5 o'clock, use the field, and the security used to chase us. But we were passionate. We wanted this dream to be a real. And I think a lot of credit should go to those guys, as you mentioned. Those guys that came before this players that we find here, the old boys, as they call them, they are plowing back. And it's nice to see that most of them, including the likes of Tefu Mashamaite, who came to the fore at 11 years old. You know, he was a great, people don't know, he was a great fan of the late Shoes Mashew, and they lived very close. Shoes used to be a guy used to do hairdressing as well at Sherwold, you know. And I met Shoes that time when he was with Giant Blackpool. We became very close. You know, Khielboy Masangu, they had very good players. And at 11 years old, this boy was a striker that I converted to a right back. When I took him to the school, Ted was like, hey, this boy. I said, no. The same thing with Dylan Shepherd. When I brought him to the school, he says, hey, this Mulungu can't play. I said, no, man, give him a chance. He was a striker. Made him the left back. Guess what? He became one of the best left backs.
What will make you happy? I know that most of the pictures here have already made you happy, but what will make you happy?
What will make me happy is produce more high quality players. There's quite a few. There's one that stands out. He's been with me since 8 years old. He's phenomenal. He's a duplicate of the Sundowns player, Thembazwani, brilliant player, on the ball, football brain. you're going to hear about him in the future. And there's many others. There's many other youngsters. I mean, this academy is littered with talent. And when I see these boys getting to there, that gives me more joy. I know my bank balance hasn't increased, but at least seeing these boys succeed makes my heart happy, makes my family happy. And I get the blessings of those parents who are now looking at these kids and saying, you are a breadwinner for this family.
All the best, coach.
Thank you, my brother. Much appreciated. Thank you very much.